So welcome again to our 2021 open house, our Youth Architects open house. We're super happy and super excited to have you here to join us, to share in all of our celebrations and also our learnings and all of our accomplishments. I am joined by Elena, and first of all, my name is Joy. I work at North York Community House and I'm a youth worker, and I'm joined by Elena. Elena, can you introduce yourself as well?
Hi everyone, welcome to our event. I'm the resident of Lawrence Heights and the program co-facilitator, and very happy to have you here all together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena. So Elena and I, we work together with our program interns, with our youth architects interns and students and everyone in between to put on this program over the summer. So this is our third cohort, our third year doing this. So we're super excited, but it's our first open house. So it's a new approach for this year. And I'm gonna go over our agenda and so we can get started, okay? Give me a moment to find my arrow. So for our agenda, we have an introduction. So once again, introduce yourself in the chat if you feel comfortable. We're going to do our land acknowledgement. We're then going to go into our presentations from our youth architects. We also have a resident presentation, which is really excited for us to share some really great innovation and ideas from an amazing leader in the community. We have some feedback and questions, and we also have our closing at the very end. So once again, please use the chat to introduce yourself, say hello, and connect with folks. But right now we're going to actually move into our land acknowledgement, which is led by Kadeen.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Elena. And to all of you here, I am Kadeen Bankasing and also a colleague of Joy at North York Community House. Shout outs to Kanika and Stephanie in the space right now as well. We're all a part of the CD team. And also much greetings to Elena, who is our fellow community leader, and resident artist, and all around fantastic person. I'm a resident of the Lawrence Heights Neptune community for now almost 14 years. And I live in this community also with my own children and have worked in the community for a number of years as well. And been a volunteer and community leader myself. So everything that is happening with the youth architects also impacts my own life and how this community will change for myself and for my family. So I'm here today just to acknowledge that the land that we are standing on, traditionally known by the indigenous peoples as Takaranto, which means the place in the water where the trees stand. Takaranto is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe and the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. And those treaties were the agreements entered on that acknowledged that the land itself would be shared for all settlers so that all who would live on this land would be able to thrive and to build their lives here, but that all would be able to live together because there was enough for everyone, and that we could all be sustained if we all committed together to care for and to nurture the land for future generations. But our relationship in Lawrence Heights to this land as well has its own very important history, right? And the first peoples who lived on this land, the closest known settlement in the area was discovered along the Black Creek and Finch Avenue area over 60 years ago. So we also know that area as part of North York, right? Or what might also be now considered Jane and Finch, right? But villagers caught fish in the Black Creek and used this fertile valley land to grow gardens of beans, corn, and squash, also sustaining their natural lives and the environment for all beings and creatures there. But our land specifically, as Lawrence Heights, in the 1800s belonged to the Mulhollands and was built as a post-war suburban community on the outskirts of Toronto It was originally farmland. The farmland was owned by this pioneering family who settled the region in 1814. And actually, the Mulholland family has one of the streets just, I believe, 1 block away from Dufferin Street that is still named the Mulholland Avenue. So it is still part, or at least a reminder of the legacy of this family in our community or in our general area as well. But our relationship to Lawrence Heights, in the way that we understand it now, is very much as a social housing community. And in the 1940s, the federal government enacted the National Housing Act. And this investment in public housing enabled the provision of housing for low-income households. But we're also thinking affordability, right? Of what it meant for families with lower incomes to be able to have healthy and sustainable lives within their means, right? And it was also built to address the need to provide housing for returning war veterans. So even as we have seen the history of this land develop over many, many years, it has always been about sustaining and providing for those who would live on it. And as we look forward, right, to the coming 20 to 30 years, that this community and this land of Lawrence Heights continues as it transforms and continues to transform. We acknowledge that the community will still, in various ways, whether it's Turtle Island Road or through works of art that now grace some of our buildings in the community, we still pay homage to the memory of those who have prepared and maintained the space so that we can be here today and so that we can also thrive. And as we think about our community transforming over many years, I invite you to always consider how you will contribute to creating a space and a community that would be healthy and whole for generations to come, and that can continue to sustain all of our needs and our aspirations in our lives moving forward. So thank you very much. Joy and Elena, I wish you all the best with your fantastic event today. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much, Kadeen. That was absolutely beautiful. And just to let everyone know, for all of our guests, Kadeen was actually with us at our opening ceremonies, and now she's with us as we close. So it's definitely a beautiful full circle moment to open and close as well. So with that, I'm just going to reshare my screen, and then we'll go into our icebreaker. So just give me a moment, because, you know, technology. So what I want to share with everyone very briefly, not the agenda again, but our community agreement that we had created during the first session, actually with Kadeen. Kadeen was present, and we did this after the land acknowledgement. And we feel like this was a great way to kind of extend and to learn more about treaties and agreements and etc. So this is kind of our way to invite everyone that's in this open house today to our space, to the culture that we created, and also just into our program in general. So I'll highlight a couple of these beautiful messages from some of our youth architects. Being kind to one another, teamwork makes the dream work, and communication is key. And there's a couple of more. Mistakes are seen as opportunities to grow. There's lots of beautiful things that we decided that we wanted to have in our space to ensure that it was a positive space where we can grow, where we can actually maintain and grow friendships, and where we can also connect and build new connections. So we are now extending that branch to everyone that's in this space to join us in the spirit of the Youth Architects program and to be fully a part of our program today. So just to talk about the Youth Architects program very briefly, there's so many things that we can say about the Youth Architects program. We can talk about it endlessly, but I just want to just kind of talk about this piece, which is probably the most important piece of the program, is that we want to inspire everyone to dream. And we have an acronym for each letter. So dream, design communities, record legacies, engage residents, and activate creative visions, and make a positive impact on community. So that's essentially our essence of our program. If we can inspire just one person to dream, to think outside the box, to address challenges, and to anchor in on hope and possibilities, That is essentially the hope and desire for our program, and that's really essentially our program itself. So I'm going to pass it on to Elena to talk about the design challenge, because it will give you a better context of each group's presentations.
So now, from the dreaming point, we're coming down to the earth, see what is the location for our proposals. And the design challenge actually was based and set upon the new Triangle Park that will be coming in the end of the phase 1 of revitalization near 2023. And we would like to address several things, and we have several criteria that is showing up here. One of the criteria is the using shipping containers as the most mobile and most feasible structural option to create our projects. And the other criteria is it has to include 1 or 3 programs from the social development plan that represents the dreams and hopes of the residents. And then obviously we should keep in mind COVID-19 safety protocols. We have to acknowledge that our participants have dedicated over 40 hours over the summer to complete their projects. And we're immensely proud of them, and we are so excited for you to see what they have been working on. And before they start, I would like just to say briefly, there's 3 projects, 3 teams who are working on this challenge, and we starting with the team 1, and we're giving them the goal.
Perfect. So I'm going to stop sharing right now, and we're going to start our presentations. I believe we're starting with Lisa's group, Sea Monkeys. So just give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go, and you have the floor. Thank you so much, Lisa.
So, hello everyone, we are Sea Monkeys, and today we'll be talking about our design proposition for Lawrence Heights revitalization. Our team is comprised of researchers, designers, and speakers. Our researchers are Lisa, Kenneth, and Ohm, and our designers are Lisa, Kimmy, and Kenneth. Lisa, Jenny, and Shivani will be our speakers for today. First, we'll begin with the quote, "Make it simple but significant" by Don Draper. In relation to the quote, the simple approach with the design makes it easier to add further adjustments and repurpose the structure in general, while allowing the team to easily coordinate with one another and work around with the project much better. Not only that, but this project is a multifunctional space established to appeal to a variety of events, such as cultural activities, a seating area, a community art exchange, and a movie theater. This is our table of contents, and today we'll be covering 5 topics: our goals, prototype, landmark, our design, and finally our closing. Now I'll be passing it on to the next speaker, Shivani.
Our goals. In this section, we'll be learning more about our goals and motives. So, what was the challenge we were faced with? The design challenge was to create a landmark located in Lawrence Heights Triangular Park for their 25-year revitalization. We were required to choose 1 to 3 programs from the SDP while keeping in mind the COVID-19 safety protocols. Taking into account the residents' hopes and dreams, we chose 3 programs from the SDP and focused on making our project revolve around those ideas. We addressed the issues of green space, community connections, and employment needs. Under these categories, we chose 4 SDP programs: a cultural festival, community art exchange, movie festival, and a food stand to help boost employment needs. Out of all our options, why did we choose these particular programs? Well, we wanted to create designs that would be sustainable, form new supportive relations, and promote businesses, entrepreneurs, and social enterprising in the community. We wanted to do all of this while ensuring that the residents could have a good time, creating a positive atmosphere. And so, we arrived at our 4 SDP programs. Our main goals for this design challenge are to focus on 3 components. Number 1, safety. Safety is a number 1 priority. Keeping in mind COVID-19 protocols, we would like to make sure everyone is wearing a mask at all times, have hand sanitizer stations to disinfect, and have spacing between seating to maintain proper distance between parkgoers. Number 2, accessibility. A seating area would be placed on ground level in order to provide for those who are unable to access the second level. And lastly, number 3, community bonding. Having a positive community presence is important for everyone. We plan to build on community bonding with our food stand, which will allow for cultural connections through diverse food. The movie festival will give residents a chance to spend time with each other, and honestly, who doesn't love themselves a good movie to unwind after a long day? Our art exhibition would have a variety of art created by members of the community. Not only would this be a calming and meditative experience, but also an inspiring one. Lawrence Heights residents are constantly caught in moving, renovation, and sacrifice. Our design would give the community the opportunity to connect with each other and overall allow for a friendly and relaxing environment. Octavia Riley, a photographer, spoken word artist, and student studying cognitive science, said, she is excited for the revitalization, creating an area for networking, growth, and community. This is part of our design due to the cultural festival, art gallery, and movie theater, all of which will allow community members to bond. We plan to decorate the community according to the cultural festivals of residents based on different times of the year to reflect on the community's culture, which Ahmed, a resident, appeared to be concerned about. Kadeen Bankasing has been a resident of the Neptune community for 12 years. She states that the early days of revitalization are some of her most memorable moments. Our design would give life to Triangle Park and help define the feel of a community. Next, we'll be talking about where we all started, going through our design process and looking at our precedents. We first started with researching precedents. We liked the idea that we could turn our shipping containers into public murals. We also wanted to make sure we could somehow make the stage and movie theater combine into one. So, we landed on the idea that we could use a movie screen projector when the stage isn't in use. These were our initial sketches of the art exhibition, movie theater, stage, and food stand. We wanted to somehow keep the outdoors feel and incorporate all of these ideas into one. We also figured that the art exhibition would be a great standalone piece since its design is so unique. And along with any design comes certain advantages and disadvantages. With the art exhibition, our biggest challenge was that it could easily get dirty, as it isn't protected from weather conditions like rain, snow, and hail. The art exhibition is able to hold a variety of art pieces, whether it be hanging objects, canvases, or sculptures. However, it can only hold so much due to its lack of space. Eventually, we decided on this being our final design for the art exhibition since the pros outweigh the cons. For example, it was a really unique design that could attract interested parkgoers. Everyone would be able to see the structure, and it grants easy accessibility to those who want to casually browse. Here's a question for everyone in the audience. Has anyone been to an outdoor concert before? If so, how did it feel? Please put your answers in the chat. So from the answers, I see that a lot of people haven't been to an outdoor concert, and the ones that have, it sounds like a cool experience. But for those of you that said no, now you have a chance. With our food stand and stage, we had 2 design ideas. After tons of team meetings and sketches, we finally chose this as our final. But it was only to realize that we had run into a brick wall. Our biggest problem with this design would be that since the stage was on the second floor, people wouldn't be able to see it. This also led to accessibility issues for the second floor as we couldn't figure out a way to add a ramp. However, this design allowed for a simplistic way to include all of our events. It was basically a 4-in-1: movie, stage, seating area, and food stand. After grabbing your food, you could sit back and enjoy the show. Once we came to know that our first design of the food stand would not work out, we created a second one. With this design, we decided to lower the stage, making it easier to access for everyone. This also made the design overall look more unique and effective, as people can easily get food before getting ready for the movie or performance, giving it a theater-like feel. On the other hand, there was a lot of unoccupied space that wasn't being used, and it felt like there was wasted space. These are all sketches and images of our design process for the food stand and stage. Next, Jenny will be taking the lead from here.
In this next section, I'll be discussing landmarks and how they relate to our designs. A landmark is a feature or object in a certain location that is easily recognized and has cultural or historical significance. Some examples include Parliament Hill, located in our very own capital, Ottawa, and CN Tower, which sits right in the heart of Toronto. Features of a landmark make them stand out from the surroundings, asserting their visual dominance and holding unique and notable features. They almost always hold significant cultural or historical value. Landmarks have an everlasting effect, just as if you were to visit another city in another country for the first time and go sightseeing. This in turn leaves viewers of the landmark with a more lasting impression. The more unique and valuable it is, the more people visit, making it more significant. Now, 3 words that define our structures are modern, multifunctional, and modest. Our modern building emphasizes function and streamlined form over ornamentation. Our structure offers a wide variety of features such as seating, sightseeing, a movie theater, food stand, art exhibition, and stage. And finally, it isn't expensive or large, which would help everyone keep more money in their pockets. Next, I would like to talk about one of the juiciest parts of our presentation, our final design. In the photos you can see on the slide, you can see the different structures we've created: the stage, food stand, art exhibition, and seating area. Keeping in mind the parts of the SDP we've selected, we want to make the residents and parkgoers feel relaxed by providing a place to chat and relax with friends. And the community's diverse cultures can be appreciated, whether through the food stand, art display, or other features. Our design can help build connections and relations within the community by allowing them to gather and have a good time. How our designs visually contribute to the community is through the artwork display. Residents would feel a sense of pride knowing that the artwork was made by one of their own community members. The designs we've created wouldn't only serve their intended use, but would also become a landmark for the community, becoming well known for Triangle Park's exclusive features. Just as Hyde Park has its own features such as the petting zoo, Triangle Park would have its own subset features. In terms of what the design would symbolize for the community, our design puts emphasis on representing freedom and creativity, which is through the freedom to create and express themselves in the art exhibition, unity, which is through getting together and bonding, and finally, culture and history, which is through the different cultures that are celebrated during the culture festival and artworks displayed. In this slide, we have multiple views of our design, centering around the stage and food stand. On the very left, we have the top view displaying placements of the stage and seating area, along with the art exhibition. To the right of that, we see the interior of the stage, where there will be stage lights to provide lighting for the area. On the bottom left, we get to see the interior of the vertical shipping container, where there will be stairs implemented into the interior in order to provide access to the upper level, and where there will be another seating area. To the bottom right, we see the interior for the food stand, that of which is placed behind the stage area. There will also be seats for anyone who wants to eat after they get their food. During off times where an event isn't being hosted on the stage, we plan for a movie projector to be put in place so people can enjoy occasional movie nights during the night. Something of which was an option during the pandemic when we were unable to go into movie theaters. Having an outdoor movie theater would also support COVID-19 protocols since there is spacing between each seat and it would be an outdoor space. Art pieces can also be added into the vertical shipping container for further display. In addition, the stage can also be used as another seating area to accommodate parkgoers further. It's perfect for game night, don't you think? Now, after taking care of the larger parts of our design, we had to look into the specifics. This is a more serious part of our presentation, structural maintenance and people safety. So let's get into it. First, we chose for the seating area, tabletops, and places touched by people frequently to be sanitized on an hourly basis at the very least. The idea would be after every person leaves, but that would require hiring many attendants. As for cleaning the structure itself, we believed a weekly deep clean would be appropriate since it's where community art is placed, and it has the goal of bringing people together. Next, we believed heating and cooling would be a problem during the different parts of the year, especially since heat waves have become a serious occurrence and it is also cold in the winters. Our solution to this is to have heat lamps in the winter and evaporative coolers as well as fans in the summer. Lastly comes arguably the most important part of all: fire safety, theft prevention, and night visibility. For fire safety, we chose to go with 2 fire extinguishers, a fire alarm, sprinklers, smoke, and CO2 detectors. For theft prevention, we went with the typical route of installing cameras. This is of vital importance because of the community artwork that would be present. And for night visibility, we chose to keep adequate and bright lighting throughout the entire area to ensure everything is visible during times of danger. In this slide, these are some extra parts of our design. As we've mentioned before, we wanted to make our vertical container have a mural painted by the community. We wanted to have trash cans that had art on them to add a pop of color compared to plain ones. And we also considered putting a skylight on the roof of our vertical container to make sure people can still enjoy the sunlight even in the building. Some of the things we wanted to add is a wall garden. It would be an extra feature to our vertical container and would be great for integration into the environment. In terms of other details, we figured we'd like to add spotlights into our art exhibition to make the art pieces stand out, just like art galleries. We also wanted to hang lights at the front of our food stand and stage at night to make the visitors feel more cozy and at home. To end this section, I'd like to guide everyone through the map of Triangle Park. As you can see on display on your screens, placement-wise, we intended to have our structures placed in the open lawn area of the park, marked by the gray rectangle in the center of the grass area. And finally, let's hear our final remarks from Lisa.
So our presentation is coming to a close, but before that, I have a quote I'd like to present to all of you. This is a quote by Octavia Riley, a resident of Lawrence Heights, photographer, spoken word artist, and student studying cognitive science. The reality is there are so many talented and educated people who go unnoticed. This area has great potential, and I now believe that revitalization is the best thing for the Lawrence Heights area. Our design allows for many programs to run and for the Lawrence Heights residents to display their own talents. For example, on the stage, the art exhibition, or the food stand. Not only that, but it becomes a great place for everyone to share their views and enjoy themselves in a comfortable area. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and if you have any further questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to let us know.
Thank you so much, Sea Monkeys. That was amazing. So you should be very proud. Let me just put an emoji up just because I'm just feeling happy. Great job. So right now I will invite anyone in this open house to share any comments or questions. You're free to unmute if you would like, or to share a question or comment in the chat as well.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say I love seeing the development from where you guys were at last time I saw your presentations to now, there's clearly a ton of work that went in, and I love that you made accessibility one of the goals of the design after our chat last time, and I think it really moved forward and it looks really great, so I'm just really happy.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know, my video doesn't seem like it's working, but I really like the flow of the presentation, and it was a great start with the Tim Draper quote, because it really, that's what you guys presented afterwards. So I really like that. I was wondering, what made you choose, you said form over ornamentation. So what was that about?
Well, for our design, we really wanted to take that idea, I guess you could say, in a way, take that and just, yeah, like form, honestly, for us, form, we interpret it as like function over basically presentation. But honestly, I believe that we kind of incorporated both into our design, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a really hard question. I'm not really sure how to explain my answer for this, but yeah, I tried my best.
But the space was beautiful, so yeah, I think you're right. There was a little bit of both, and I really like the layout. Yeah, the layout of all the parts of like the sitting area and the container and the levels of it. So it was a really great job, great design.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I guess if there's no more questions or comments, I guess we can proceed into the next presentation. So congratulations, Sea Monkeys. It was incredible. I love to see the progression as well. I love the photo with the tower and the stairs. For some reason, I was always wondering what the tower was, and I realized, oh, it's for the stairs. So thank you for those interior views, and it just really made it very beautiful and very clear for everyone, including myself. So with that, I guess we can proceed to our next group if you are ready to go. And this will be Zoe's group, Bob the Builders.
Yep. All right. So I hope you can see my screen. So hello, we are Bob the Builders, and this is our design proposal for Lawrence Heights Triangular Park. My name is Zoe, and I'm the intern of this team. Our team is composed of both researchers and designers. So our researchers are Susan and Yenu, and our designers are Risha, Divine, and Sabrina. We will all be presenting today, and as well a special shout out to our program assistant, Dahlia. So here are the 5 sections that we will be going over today. Our criteria, so our personal requirements and constraints, our goals for our design process, design solution, and just digging a little deeper into our design.
Architecture is really about well-being. I think that people want to feel good in a space. On the one hand, it's about shelter, but it's also about pleasure. Best said by renowned architect Zaha Hadid, structures are not built for only shelter, but also fulfillment. Our design combines this idea of function mixed with pleasure, adapting a space to the needs of the residents of Lawrence Heights and giving them an entertainment venue.
So over the summer, we were challenged to create a landmark in Toronto, starting in Lawrence Heights Triangular Park. As you heard earlier in our session, there were some given requirements for us to follow. However, we also set our own requirements and constraints. Through much trial and error, we chose to focus on these three main pillars: accessibility, safety, and landscape integration. We aim to ensure everyone would be able to access all sections of our structure, that COVID-19 safety protocols were being considered and met, and that it would seamlessly blend into the park space. Along with that, we wanted to take into account the voices of Lawrence Heights residents with the programs included in the structure. We chose two themes: community connection and green space, under which we chose 3 SDP programs: a cultural festival, which is an event to celebrate the different cultures in the community and a place for people to bond; a community art exchange, a program for various artists to showcase their talents and inspire others; and a movie festival, a place for people to gather together and watch movies.
Our objective was to create a landmark. By definition, a landmark is an object or feature of a landscape or town that is easily seen and recognized from a distance, especially one that enables someone to establish their location. In Toronto alone, there are numerous landmarks that we can name off the back of our head. Can you name a few in the chat? Yeah, so Divine said the CN Tower, Casa Loma. Are there any other ones you guys can think of? Lisa says the Great Wall of China. That's not exactly in Toronto for sure. All right, so in addition to this, we selected 3 words we wanted to design to embody as a landmark. The first word selected is conspicuous. This word is defined as standing out so as to be clearly visible, or in other words, attracting notice or attention. We wanted our design to stand out from everything else visible in the community. It was meant to be an area that can be easily recognized and seen from afar and entice people to check out. The second word we chose was to integrate. To integrate means to combine one thing with another so that they become a whole. An important aspect of a community landmark is to not only be aesthetically pleasing, but to also provide a function that brings people together. Our design should be able to bring people together, whether that be through community events or learning more about one another's cultures. The last word we chose to describe our design was distinguishable. The meaning of this word is clear enough to be recognized or identified as different. A landmark must have its wow factor that makes it unique and stand out. It should not be mistaken for anything else. We wanted our design to have a wow factor that has not been seen before. It should amaze all visitors and leave them wanting to come back again.
As we mentioned before, the wants and needs of Lawrence Heights residents played a massive role in our design process. The residents have voiced that they feel as if they aren't being heard. They also wish for Lawrence Heights to be an entertainment space, a place to showcase culture and artistic talents. Octavia Riley, a Lawrence Heights resident, a photographer, spoken word artist, and student studying cognitive science. Wow, she has a lot of titles. Spoke a little about the community, and she said, Lawrence Heights is like a diamond in the rough. I say this because most people automatically associate Lawrence Heights with its past or its violence. Now that's a problem that needs to be solved. And we found hope in the solution when she said, with the interaction between tenants of diverse educational and financial backgrounds, it creates an environment filled with opportunities for connection, networking, and growth. Another Lawrence Heights resident, Ahmed Adan, voiced concern about keeping culture intact through the Lawrence Heights revitalization that we wanted to keep in mind during our design process. He says, my main concern is keeping the culture intact through the change. It was built up throughout the years, and it's what makes Lawrence Heights a true community. Knowing this, we ensure to highlight the different cultures of the community in conjunction with the cultural festival.
To come to our final design, our team went through many, and I mean many, different ideas and visualizations before reaching our final precedent. At the beginning of our brainstorming session, one aspect we knew we wanted to incorporate into our design was a sports field. We began brainstorming possible ideas for what that could look like and decided that one that incorporates multiple sports would be the best option as it is versatile. Initially, we wanted to have one big field with many courts within it to amend for the different sports we wanted to include. However, we soon realized that this would take up far too much space. So, what did we do to fix this issue? Well, we looked towards our deeply cherished memories of gym class. Using multi-purpose courts amended for our limited space, quite common in schools, which is what we decided to use. An excellent idea, yes, but we realized that nets for sports would not be kept up all the time and required some sort of area to be safely kept while not being used. A storage area, if I may, which is what we'll get into later.
After coming up with our base idea, our team began researching how we could involve shipping containers to accentuate our field and the park. We realized that shipping containers could be used for things such as movies, exhibits, and gathering, all ideas we wanted to include. The thought of decorating the exterior of them with murals was also an appealing idea. Ideas for how we were to arrange the shipping containers went on for quite a while, and when we said earlier that we had a lot of ideas, we're not exaggerating at all. We went around in countless circles on how we could go about our design. Everyone had different ideas and interpretations on how we could piece together our structure. True to form, what's shown on this slide is not even all of what we came up with. We had some ideas to isolate the stage. We thought of having 2 shipping containers stacked on each other, one for the stage and one for the art gallery. We also thought of having 2 shipping containers beside each other in an L shape, and then the rooftop would be the stage, which in essence, what I'm saying is that we had a lot of ideas.
After going back and forth on our design and getting very helpful feedback from our architects, we finally landed on our final design, which will soon be revealed. But before that, we had to do some edits with our programming. After reviewing the social development plan, we realized that we could combine the art exchange and cultural festival into one, a cultural art cafe. With this in mind, those playing sports would also be able to grab a bite to eat or something to drink after their workout.
With the changes to the Sdp programs and our many changes and interpretations, we completed our final research on the precedents that would show face in our design. Knowing that we planned on having movies and other events that could last for an extended period of time, we included an area for food. As previously mentioned, those partaking in athletics could also grab a snack or drink. Next, taking inspiration from the chalk mural in All the Bright Places. Who's read that book? Excellent, am I right? We decided to add an interactive portion to our design to further show the connections within the community. Lastly, to account for accessibility, we decided a ramp that would blend in with the natural surroundings and could double as a small hill for sledding in the winter would fit. Now you would think that with all that planning, the design process would be over, but in that case, you would be incorrect. In fact, we had multiple interpretations of the ideas set forth, and it took us an overwhelming amount of time to figure out how to arrange the also tedious ramps the perfect way to fit into the park.
You may have thought we were comedic geniuses when hearing our team name at the start of this presentation, but may I introduce you to the creation of the Bob the Builder's team. Bob the Building. Bob the Building is a place that brings people together to celebrate their individual cultures and the history of the Lawrence Heights community, provides a space for residents to gather, connect and grow in regards to current safety restrictions, and a monument to the past, present, and future of Lawrence Heights. Through my numerous hours laboring on SketchUp, we were able to visualize our design, which in essence consists of a cafe connected to a sports field in front. Hearing that the residents wanted a cultural festival and art exchange, we combined these 2 ideas and added them to the cafe, which can be used to rotate in a variety of different foods to showcase culture. We then implemented our initial idea of having an art gallery on the bottom by hanging artwork on the walls of the cafe, so the residents can enjoy the art and have a snack all at once. Though not pictured thanks to my own forgetfulness, there is a ramp to access the cafe along with grab bars within the cafe so that everyone has the ability to grab a snack or view some art. To the left of the cafe, there's a ramp that stretches out as if it is hugging the park, which allows people, especially those in wheelchairs, to access the rooftop stage / multi-purpose gathering area. Along the front of the ramp is an interactive wall where anyone can add their own art and have it displayed to the community. Also, a storage room for equipment or cafe needs is embedded inside the ramp.
On the reverse side of the ramp, there holds a mirror of the history of Lawrence Heights. The history is the heart and soul of what makes up Lawrence Heights now. To the right of the cafe, there are a set of stairs that also lead to the stage for those that are capable of using them and don't wish to walk to the left-hand side. On top of the gallery, there's a glass railing to prevent people from falling, and also railings along the ramps and stairs. In the winter,
People can use the ramp for sledding and maybe even have a better view of the entire park. Around the sports field, there are numerous picnic benches to allow people to sit and chat, eat, or observe any events that may be occurring. To reiterate our 3 pillars of accessibility, safety, and integration, both the site and cafe ramps allow access to those that do not have the capabilities of climbing stairs or steps. Grab bars and railings throughout the structure allow for people to hold on to if need be. Due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic, a maximum capacity of 5 people in this cafe is permitted. The picnic tables across the field are spaced out. Regular sanitation will be in place and masks will be strongly enforced. Lastly, the ramp's exterior appearance is grass-like, and plant boxes surround the structure which, unlike our original designs, don't have a box sticking up out of nowhere.
When designing this building, we wanted people to feel intrigued and want to explore our structure. Having the ramp and stairs makes it accessible for all people to venture the building. And by placing the ramp reaching out towards the outside of the park makes it more intriguing for people to explore. We also wanted the building to have a mural depicting the history of Lawrence Heights community. The mural acts as a monument of the past, present, and future of the community and contributes to its identity. This mural will be displayed on the back of the container and the ramp, as seen in this image. Mural can act as an event for local artists to come together and create a monument. We also added an interactive mural on the other side of the ramp so people can interact and display their artwork to the community. We created this building for the community to gather, connect over the artwork displayed in the art cafe, along with the stage area on the roof of the containers that can host different events. Creating these spaces adds a new way for the community to connect, meet, and voice their opinions. This building design also represents the voices of the community being heard. We heard the needs for a cultural festival, a movie festival, and an art exchange. The cultural festival and art exchange events can be hosted and displayed in the art cafe, along with serving foods from different countries. And the movie festival can be hosted on the roof, and people would be seated in the sports field, and movie snacks can be purchased in the art cafe.
The reality is there are so many talented and educated people who go unnoticed. This area has great potential, and I now believe that revitalization is the best thing for the Lawrence Heights area. Lawrence Heights resident Octavia Riley said that the Lawrence Heights area has great potential, but talented people often go unnoticed. Our design includes different programs and allows the Lawrence Heights residents to display their own talents either on the stage or the interactive mural wall. It then became a great place to bring people pleasure and also entertain themselves.
So that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the chat.
Great, congratulations, Bob the Building and Bob the Builders. It's such like a tongue twister. That was actually quite funny. Thank you for that joke too. So if you have a question or comment, feel free to either put in the chat or unmute. And yeah, thank you.
Hey everyone, Joel here. Yeah, I think there's probably some similar comments to what Sarah said on the last presentation. The amount of, and sorry if I look like I'm looking out my window, it's because the Zoom is on a different screen than my camera. I love that everyone so far has taken the time to consider accessibility in these designs, because I think, you know, a public space is intended to be for everyone, and we don't want to design spaces that are intended for everyone that have these obvious barriers that are presented. So I think that that's fantastic, and the amount of work that everyone's put in, you know, the amount of detail in some of these SketchUp models is pretty incredible. So it's great to see. I think the little bit of feedback that I would give is just thinking about, you know, I love the idea of including grab bars and things to make spaces more accessible, I'd really think about how we can design spaces in a really simple manner so we don't need to install assistive devices unless absolutely necessary. So thinking about access, making it really smooth to move in and out of spaces and navigate around spaces before we start adding things like grab bars, because often we can overcome some of those things through design solutions. I think that's a really interesting opportunity to explore. But yeah, just overall, great job. So thank you.
There's lots of love in the comments. A lot of people are fans of the ramp. I'm actually a fan of it too. I think it's really unique and fun, and just, I love how it, like you mentioned, it integrates with the entire park as well. So it feels like it's just immersed in the entire environment. So thank you for being so creative and thinking about that to add to your design.
And I'd like to also mention that it was amazing tone of the delivery of the presentation. It had so many interesting ways of engaging the audience. It's amazing. Yeah, I really like the way you presented.
Okay, that's great. So if there isn't any questions or any more comments, there are some things in the chat, so feel free, Bob the Builders, to check that out. I guess we can move on to our last but not least group, Stupendous Corporation or Corp. So if you're ready to go, I'll mute myself and you can take the lead, Ace and whoever else is joining you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad that you could join us today to see our design proposal for Lawrence Heights Triangular Park. First, let's talk about who we are. Our team is very unironically called Stupendous Corporate. Our members are Ace and Havish, who are the interns, Tahir, Satvik, and Mark, who are the researchers, the designer, which is me, Carolina, and last but not least, Dalia, who's our program assistant. We have divided our design proposal into 3 different portions. Firstly, we will talk about the residents and how their needs and dreams, alongside our team's main design criteria, influenced our design. Then we will talk about the voyage, or our design journey, ranging from our very first precedents to our final sketches. Lastly, we will reveal our final design, as well as various cool features and exciting programs that we offer.
Now, before we start talking about the nitty-gritty, I'd like to read you this quote said by Elizabeth Masconher, a very influential business professor. Creativity is a lot like looking at the world through a kaleidoscope. You look at a set of elements, the same ones everyone else sees, but then reassemble those floating bits and pieces into an enticing new possibility. This quote in particular had a lot of impact on the shape and the philosophy of our design. We took bits and pieces from the real world, studied them from multiple different angles, and used those bits and pieces to create a design that truly resonates with the people of Lawrence Heights. On to the first order of business, the residents. During this part of the presentation, we will be going over our team's design criteria and the impacts of the residents on our design. As mentioned prior to the presentation, we were challenged to propose a design in the form of a landmark for Lawrence Heights' Triangular Park. After reviewing our requirements and constraints, and taking our members' vision of a building that contributes positively to a community into account, we came up with 3 different categories that we prioritized while designing the building: accessibility, sustainability, and safety. Then we began our research. As mentioned earlier, the residents of Lawrence Heights played a very big role in the development of our design. We made it our mission to familiarize ourselves with the hopes and the dreams of the locals and build our structure around their needs. Through our intensive research, we gathered 3 quotes that inspired our design the most. As said by Octavia Riley, there are so many talented and educated people who go unnoticed. This made our team realize that the community is lacking art programs and exhibition areas where artists can connect with potential clientele, showcase their art, and hone their artistic skills. In relation to art and culture, Ahmad Adam added, "My main concern is keeping the culture intact through the change. We identified that the residents are worried that revitalization and constant changes in the community will push people away from the community's culture. They need a place where they can practice their culture and history." Lastly, Denise Bishop Earl said, "Many feel a lack of community inclusion." With this, we learned that residents strive to advocate and voice their opinions, but their voices aren't being heard. With our priorities and these 3 quotes in mind, we chose 2 main programs. Community Art Exchange, which is a program that spreads the voice of the community through art, and a place where people can learn about art, exhibit their art, and connect with other artists and clients. And the Peace Garden. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's basically a peaceful garden where people can gather, bond, voice their opinions, and make their voices heard. With our programs in place, we began the journey of design. Just like a tiny boat setting sail to an unknown destination, our voyage also had a lot of ups and downs, uncertainties, and dead ends. In this portion, we have documented our design process from the very first precedents to our final sketches to help you connect with our final design as much as we did over the course of the summer. We were challenged to create a landmark for Triangle Park. By definition, we all knew what a landmark is, but we didn't know enough to design one. So we started searching, what truly is a landmark? What makes a landmark a landmark? Then we figured that the best definition is a structure that holds historic and/or symbolic importance and is well known among the people. Based on this definition, we listed 3 adjectives that best described our vision of the design and used this as a guideline to ensure that our structure would be perceived as a landmark. The adjectives that we chose were imposing, representative of history and culture, and unique. So with this in mind, we started developing the overall shape of the building. We wanted something unique, something that would stand out. There are plenty of cubes and prisms and cones out there. What's lacking is, but of course, a dome. Out of all the dome-shaped buildings, these 2 piqued our interest the most. The geometric panels of Arena Arbor are very unique and eye-catching, and the usage of glass in the forestry dome gives the building a very bold shape. We also realized that geodesic dome structures have many other pros, such as sustainability, structural stability, and energy efficiency. Thus, we decided to combine our 2 precedents and use them as our initial design. Behold the Geodome, creative name, right? Sadly, it was the best we could come up with. As I said before, there are lots of benefits to the dome shape, but circular shapes are generally extremely hard to program, and this design did not fit our design requirements either. That's why we decided to only use the general shape and the geometric associated with it, and we make our design using, you guessed it, shipping containers. Shipping containers are a very unusual material to use, and we were also very surprised to find out that there are actually a lot of buildings made purely out of shipping containers. So here's a fun and quick question for you. Have you ever been inside a shipping container shape or a shipping container themed building? Type your answers down on the chat. We are very curious to know. Oh, interesting. So a lot of people have been in shipping container buildings. Oh, it's getting a little bit divided now. So a lot of divided answers. I'm actually surprised that there have been people inside shipping container buildings. Thank you for your answers. So during our research for precedents, we came across these 2 shipping container structures that embrace our initial ideas perfectly. The slanted container of March 1st gives the building a very conspicuous and geometric look. The same slanted container idea is used for retreat vacation home. However, the containers are arranged in a way that gives the structure a dome-shaped silhouette. Using these buildings as inspiration, we began sketching once again. The sketches evolved as we keep talking about our vision and the main programs and the priorities for the building. We started with the very topmost sketch on the left and ended up with the bottommost sketch on the right. This was used as our guiding sketch for the final design. Now, as you saw previously, we know that we are going to have a second floor in our final design, which raised concerns for accessibility, of course. We wanted the building to be accessible for all 4 seasons of the year. After a lot of research, we figured out that the best way to go about accessibility is to have convertible stairs, which not only help people with mobility issues to access the second floor, but also helps people with strollers and trolleys. In order to keep our pavilion open all 4 seasons of the year, we decided to incorporate heating panels that will be activated during fall and winter time. At this point, all of our designs met our perfect definition of a landmark. They were unique, imposing, and representative of history and culture of the people of Lawrence Heights, but still something was missing. The philosophy that we had in mind when approaching this building was taking initiative to sustain culture, history, and beauty in the lives of the locals. We started looking for something that would symbolize exactly that, and that's when we thought of a kaleidoscope. In case you don't know what a kaleidoscope is, we have a video prepared for you. All right, thank you, Havish. That would be enough. As you saw, it is a very magical thing. The patterns in Kaleidoscope are ever-changing, much like the community and the residents of Lawrence Heights. But no matter how the patterns change, they're always beautiful. This was the philosophy that we wanted the people to associate with our building. The symbolism behind the kaleidoscope fits extremely well. That's why we decided to incorporate it into our building. But how? Coincidentally, one of the precedents that we looked up when we were researching landmarks gave us the exact answer to that question. Stained glass art creates the same magical kaleidoscopic effect, and the reflection of the colors on the ground can make the people inside the building feel as if they really are inside a very big kaleidoscope. We decided to make glass art a part of our art exchange program, allowing the people of Lawrence Heights themselves to form, design, and change the patterns of the kaleidoscopic glass art. This was the end of our design journey. We finally reached the destination of final design. So allow me to present to you without further ado our final design. The kaleidoscope. We broke down the programs offered into 3 components. The art exchange program was broken down into art classes and art exhibitions. And the Peace Garden is offered in the form of a Zen Garden. Our art classes allow aspiring community artists to develop their artistic skills and improve creatively. It also allows for current artists to hone their skills and master new techniques. The classes offered are going to be painting, stone painting, sculpting, glass art, and graffiti. The students can then showcase their artworks in the art exhibition program. This program allows for community artists to gain recognition, meet with potential clientele, and make their voices heard through public art in the form of graffiti and murals on the side of the building. Finally, the Zen Garden is an inclusive and peaceful space that allows for people to gather, bond, offer support, and advocate. It also allows for other smaller programs, such as gardening, which encourages and promotes community gardening. The peaceful atmosphere of the Peace Garden also allows for people to reflect, mourn, and remember the lives lost to violence in the community.
The Zen Garden is going to be spread out all on the first floor. Some art classes are going to be held within the Zen Garden. The exhibition area is situated on the top alongside the glass art that can be seen on the roof of the building. The exhibition area can be accessed through the spiral stairs where the glass art is exhibited. Murals are going are also going to be found on the backside of the building to allow for seamless flow of people. Here you can see the top view of both of the floors. I'd like to once again bring your attention to the stained glass. The pattern will be changed through the residents recoloring the glasses, changing the reflection seen by the people on the first floor, creating the perfect kaleidoscope effect. The water fountain on the first floor serves as a centerpiece and a means of sustainability, recycling, and reusing runoff water. The stagnated snow and rain water will be transferred into the fountain's base through the piping. The water will then be filtered whilst it goes through the fountain using runoff water filters, and the water will then be used as nourishment for the Zen Garden and for consumption. The pink square represents an estimate of where the pavilion is going to be situated inside the Triangle Park. It is going to be placed in front of one of the entrances where it will be clearly seen to all pedestrians. The entrance of the kaleidoscope is going to be oriented towards the entrance of the park as a means to interest people.
Finally, for safety, I'd like to talk about the three main categories of concern. In terms of COVID-19 protocols, we have programmed the building in a way to be safely accessible to a maximum of 10 people at a time. Hand sanitizer dispensers will be situated in front of the entrance, and all of the benches inside the kaleidoscope will be spaced out. For fire hazards, we have incorporated smoke and carbon dioxide detectors and fire alarm sprinklers in order to provide protection against fires. For security, we have incorporated 24/7 surveillance through the pavilion using surveillance equipment. Now that we have fully explored our destination, it is time for final remarks. I'd like to read you this beautiful quote by American entrepreneur Jim Rohn. "Whatever good things we build, end up building us." Truly, buildings are the spirit of a community and the people its heart. We hope our proposed design will help show the truth and the beauty of the locals of Lawrence Heights and the community to everyone else. Thank you for coming with us on this journey. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Stupendous Corp welcomes any questions and feedback.
Thank you so much. It's the last team that we have so much joy to view. I wonder if anyone can comment on the most memorable points in this presentation. Would be nice to hear from the residents as well. And there's nice comments in the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's great comments in the chat, like Elena mentioned. From Kevin, there's opportunities for community and a safe place for people to gather. I saw that someone mentioned about, or Manny mentioned that there was a lot of light in the actual design. Yes, we do love light. And I really like the, I don't even remember what exactly you said, Ace, but when you were talking about the symbolism between your design and the community, you're making that kind of linkage between this community that's changing and shifting, just how the colors are changing and shifting. That really stood out to me. So that was really profound. Thank you for that.
Hi, everyone. I think it was a really good design move to move the stairs from last time I saw this project, the stairs were in the center of the kaleidoscope. And I think that moving them outside of that so that people can stand in the center of the kaleidoscope and really experience it and be in the middle without worrying about if they're getting in the way of someone trying to go up the stairs or something. I think that was a really smart move. So good job, guys.
And I like the positioning of this structure. It seems to me it will look like a gem in this all green space. It should be very intricate and interesting object. It may be working even as a public art object itself.
So once again, thank you, Stupendous Corp, for all of your hard work. It was such a great presentation. It was very a creative approach to the challenge itself. And yes, I agree with all the comments. I love the involvement of light and how symbolic light could just be for a community. Because we're shining a light on Lawrence Heights, and now you have all these beautiful colors and this beautiful atmosphere. And I think that was very beautiful. And I'm happy that you were able to address all those criterias and make it your own, make it very unique and impactful. So congratulations to your team. Great job. And yeah, great job to all teams. Everyone did such a great job. It was such great presentations and such a great improvement from our last meet. So without any further delay, so we're gonna transition into a very quick presentation from one of our residents from Lawrence Heights. I'm gonna let him introduce himself to the space, to everyone here in the open house. We wanted to also shine a light on residents as well, on what they're doing and how they're impacting the communities that they're working in, that they're living in as well. So Kevin, if you're ready, you're more than welcome to share all of your great work.
It sounds good. Hey guys, my name's Kevin Prasad. Just a little backstory about me. Resident in the community for I think 22 years, since 99. I got married last year, so I moved out. I was downtown for a year now. I'm back up here, just Flemington Road, in the new buildings. So in total, yeah, it's been 22 years. So yeah, I just love things like this. It's cool to hear from people, especially young people that want to benefit the community. And just as a side note, the Triangular Park is actually where Cather would have been, and that's where I lived for a long time. I was at 23 Cather Crescent. So it's always going to be a memorable spot for me. It's all demolished now, which is kind of sad. Sometimes I shed a little tear because you have a lot of memories there. But to see ideas that will benefit that space for the better is actually been really, really good to see. I know people are all at different ends with the revitalization and just the impacts it has, and just what goes into it. People are different sides of the fence. But it's really cool to see that if something's going to happen, people are fighting for and then planning for something to be done in the best way possible, right? Which is housing in Toronto, hearing from residents, and to see all these ideas, especially from people who are younger, is really motivating to myself for just even different things I want to do in my life. And knowing where I came from Cather, that if any of these ideas go through, I know it's going to be in good hands and with good vision. So thanks a lot, guys, for just planning and preparing for today. And it was really cool to see all your ideas. I'll touch on some of your specific ideas a bit more after. But yeah, I'm Kevin. Right now, I'm with an organization called The New Common. So what we're about is about community engagement and coming alongside different peoples, organizations, politicians in the community for the common good. The New Common actually started in St. Jamestown, where they're operating right now, and I'm branching it off in Lawrence Heights. It actually started with an initiative. My friend Jamal, he's here as well. You guys might see his name somewhere on there. We started off giving care packages earlier this year to residents in the community with COVID supplies. Just to play our part and just to be able to give back and come alongside you guys in the community. we started out calling ourselves CRR, Communities Ready and Revived, because we wanted communities to, be revived, to be reignited with passion and with people being able to just live out in unity and in community, and then branched off into becoming the New Commons. So I'm actually going to leave my contact here before I forget in the chat. If anyone wants to contact me for anything, or if I can come alongside you and people who are working alongside me can just come alongside any of the organizations here or people in ideating or with volunteers for anything, more than glad to do anything that can benefit the community. So one sec. Sorry if I make any mistakes technologically wise. I'm on a Mac. I'm using my wife's Mac. I'm not used to using Macs at all, let alone Zoom on a computer. So there's my contact for you guys. So yeah, that's the bit where I'm from. If you guys want to connect with me and learn a little bit more about the organization I'm with, feel free. And then Lena and Joy, they invited me to speak specifically about a personal endeavor I'm taking on with my friend Jamal here to just to benefit the community. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I'm going to give you guys a little image, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. So let's see if this works. Okay, sweet. So guys, I need some comments here. This is the most notable video game character ever. What are some memories that come to mind from your past, or any thoughts you have that when you see this guy Mario here? So maybe let's get like 3 people to give their thoughts on this. At least 3. Comment, voice, whatever you guys want to do. See Mario Kart. Oh yeah, Smash Bros. Quality time with friends. You're a NES controller. Okay, got some old school gamers here. Hey, it's good to hear. Anyone want to give a voice comment or anything? I'll open up the floor for that. Hey, I got to pick off one of those comments. People are saying Mario Kart. Mario Kart, I played with my sister since growing up. She'll always be better than me, but to this day, I play like every single Mario Kart game, and it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time. I think out of all the video games I play, Mario Kart, I'm not the best at it out of everyone I know, but I think it's the game that I'm personally best at, just because playing, you got this muscle memory of turning all those corners and using all those shells on your opponents. Everything is just fun. The reason I share this image is something in the future that I'm planning, and it's actually good to be on a presentation like this and to hear from just different ideas. Like I was saying, guys, give me motivation, because when you share something out loud, it makes it real than just keeping something in your head. And you kind of have accountability, because I'm sharing this idea now. It's like, okay, people know about it, so I want to work towards it. So that idea that I have that work alongside my friend Jamal here is that I want to make a gaming store, video game store in this community, including a cafe or selling some kind of food. They'll sell trading cards, video games, that can benefit the community. So I'm looking for it to be a social enterprise. I'm looking for all profits that are received from that company to go into the community. So when I see proposals for a park design, like I'm seeing a movie theater, I'm seeing a sports field, I'm seeing the kaleidoscope. I love art. I'm not an artistic person, but I love looking at art, and it's really cool to see all these ideas. I'm like, this gives me motivation to bring this company forth in the future, because I want to be able to see people with their ideas to be financially backed. I think if we all had like $10 million right now, we'd be able to do any idea we want. Not to say money means everything. Money is not everything, guys. I would never base my life on just working towards money, but it does help to bring vision forth. But I think that's the beauty, maybe sometimes being limited financially, because it really shows you if you're into something, if you're going to be willing to work hard to bring it forth. So as social enterprise wise, I guess I want a space ideally in Lawrence Square Mall, because a lot of traffic there, a lot of kids, a lot of youth, school time, and parents just walking through their kids all the time. That would be the ideal space. But just my vision, hopefully in the next year or 2, I'm looking towards next year to launch something physical, if not online, but it would be just selling used video games, new video games, trading cards from like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that stuff that you guys know about. And a small cafe spot in there where people can come together and have community space. When that shop's not being used, community groups would be able to use that if they need an extra space. Just free of charge, be able to come together to build community. And then whatever's not used for the maintenance and for a small, very small, modest salary for people who are employed, myself, whoever else, would be in going into the community, would be going to projects like this. Like if more funding is needed, obviously can't promise that, you know, you cover everything business wise, you're not sure what you'll make every month or every year, but proceeds can go into something like this, right? So just to touch upon your guys' ideas, it was really cool to see all these presentations because that's exactly in line with the vision that I personally had when wanting to make a store. I've always wanted to own a store when I was younger. Sometimes you think some things are impossible. Recently now, you know, being supported by my wife and my friends, it's like, oh, this thing can become a possibility, to see your guys' idea that other people are ideating for the betterment of the community, to kind of give a new narrative to this community. You know, you guys search up the websites on Google, you're seeing violence, or you're seeing a news report about a shooting, right? It's not always the best searches that you can find, but I want to see the best searches. I want to see people see the best things of Lawrence Heights. So to see these ideas again is very encouraging to me, because I'm like, I can make this business now. I have the motivation from seeing people who are younger than me work for things, a very special space to me. You know, K3 used to be, let alone just the community in general. I love Lawrence Heights. Personally, I never want to leave it. Now I'll be able to have a business that can like support those things. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Kind of like seeing this kind of gives me the motivation. Hopefully bring something like that for us, just where all profits can go towards the community for the betterment of the community. So that's something I'm working on personally. Feel free to contact me about anything I said, or if you want to learn more about the organization I'm with. And yeah, thank you guys for, you know, all your presentations. Again, it was really cool, and just cool to see vision. I think that's something that I'm really passionate about, is vision, and having vision that you can work towards, and knowing that really no dream is too small, right? So I'm hoping that if any of these ideas, I'm hoping that all these ideas can come forth for the Triangular Park, and I'm really hoping that that people who presented here today could actually be a part of that, right? And yeah, just thank you, Elena, thank you, Joy, and I'm not too sure of anyone else here who's hosting this event, but thank you for the time to even ask me as a resident, someone who loves Lawrence Heights, to kind of share my dream for the future and just how I can get connected with what was presented here today.
Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your dreams. And also, I don't know if Jamal's here. Thank you, Jamal, as well. If you want to share a couple of words, you're more than welcome to. No pressure, but just letting you know that you're free to share as well. So let me just pause.
Yeah, I just want to say again, you know, as Kevin and others have said, all the presentations have been amazing, and you guys really just give me hope and encouragement for the future, because like Kevin was saying, like when you search for Lawrence Heights, you hear a lot of negative things. You see a lot of negative things on the news and things like that. So it can kind of make you feel like there's no hope, or there's no nothing to look forward to. But you guys being so young and just so like, you know, willing to research and to put time into and effort into all these different ideas and things to do for the revitalization in the community, it really encourages me to, you know, not give up and to keep having hope that things can change for the better. So I just really appreciate you guys, and I just want to say that you guys have done a great job, and it just really encourages me and even Kevin to go forward and, you know, strive for these ideas and try to make change in this world. And yeah, in regards to the game shop idea, me and Kevin, like we've always been talking about, you know, just trying to do things within the community that would give back to the community. So if we were able to have our own shop in the community, like he was saying, like we would use a lot of the profits for the community, you know, to help other organizations or to help people get access to different things, such as like even just technology, or being able to like have access to things like computers and cameras and things like that, things that you would need to, you know, achieve your goals and your dreams and stuff like that. Like you guys are in this program as young architects, and you're learning about all these different things, and I'm sure you have access to things you might not have access to normally to achieve these dreams. And that's kind of like what we want to do with this game shop idea. I know it's just a shop and it's just like selling games and stuff like that, but we would love to, you know, put a spin on it and make it more community driven. And yeah, so yeah, that's kind of the main idea of it. Kevin kind of shared more about it, but yeah, I'm just really looking forward to, striving, moving forward and trying to achieve these goals and dreams. But yeah, I just want to say again, good job everyone, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Kevin and Jamal. If you have any questions for them, you're more than welcome, or comments, you're more than welcome to unmute or add it in the chat. And I just wanted to say that it's not just a game shop. I think even just seeing that Mario, it took me back to all these memories and all these like landmarks in my mind. And I think these kind of spaces create memories and connections that can never be erased. So thank you so much for striving towards your goals. And we hope that it does come into fruition. So if there isn't any questions or comments, I believe Kevin put his contact information in the chat. We are going to begin to wrap up because we're going to actually end early. We're actually running ahead of schedule, which is good. I'm just going to share my screen for the last part. I'm going to put something in the chat and it'll make sense once I get there, but it's a Slido link. That's going to put it there just so I don't forget. And I'm just going to share my screen and we're going to begin to wrap up. Just give me a slight moment to get there. Got it. So in a moment, we're going to ask you to share one word to rate your experience of our open house. So you can start by, actually, I have to present with Slido first. So when you go to slido.com and you put in that number, which is 534717, I believe it should work. Thank you, Falak, for putting it in the chat as well, and putting the link in, Lisa. Thank you. And it's optional, it's voluntary, you don't have to, we're not forcing you, but if you would like to offer one word of your experience, that'll be great. So I see inspiring, interesting, nerve-wracking. I agree. Inspiring again, exciting, inclusive, exciting, hopeful, fun, amazing. Glad, impressed. There's so many words I can't even keep track. Quality. So if I don't read yours, do not take any offense. Heartwarmed is really capitalized. Creative. Wow. Competence, amazing. Thank you so much for offering your feedback in the form of one word or a small sentence. We really appreciate that. And I guess you're more than welcome to continue to add your words, but we can continue now to the next part, if I'm able to do it. Let me see if I can move on to our thank yous. So obviously this program wouldn't be possible without everyone that's in this space right now. Our program team, Elena, Falak, Dalia, myself, our interns who are youth interns, Lisa, Zoe, Ace, Havish, our guests who came to our programs, who did some trainings and really mentored everyone in the program, including us as program staff, KD and Ernestine, Adam, our mentor architects. Thank you so much for your expertise, Joel, Sarah, Monica, and Brandon. Our funders, United Way, Ontario Association of Architects, and thank you to our amazing students who showed up time and time again. I cannot tell you how many hours these young people have put in the program, probably well over 40 hours each. They put in so much time over the summer, and we're so impressed and we're so grateful for all their contribution. So once again, we want to congratulate our 2021 Youth Architects. Woo! Susan, Divine, Yen Yu, Sabrina, Arisha, Carolina, Mark, Lisa, Zoe, Ace, Havish, Tahir, Sadvik, Kenneth, Shivani, Om, Jenny, and Kimmy. Congratulations on being a part of this program, growing so much, and just being all around leaders in our program. We really appreciate you, and we wish you all the best moving forward. And we're going to end with a quote led by Falak.
Hi everyone. So I picked this quote of all, the quotes about dreams, which, as we all know, like all quotes are essentially about dreams, but this is the one I really liked most. The world needs dreamers and the world needs doers, but above all, the world needs dreamers who do. And I think that's extremely meaningful because a lot of the time we have dreams, but we doubt them like tremendously, and then we don't take the step, however little or big it may be, to like even start and get them done. So what I wanted to do is to say is essentially that if you have a dream, no matter what it is, and even if you think you're going to fail, even if you've had like some sort of evidence that has told you that you're not good enough for your dream, still take this step, like take a leap of faith on yourself. Yeah, and if you'd like to Google whose quote this is, it's Sarah Ban Breathnack. I don't know how to say her name very well, but she is an author. And yeah, that's how I'd conclude this slide. Apart from that, this is where our program comes to an end. And soon enough, Joy will also stop the recording. We will be sending you all a magazine and an infographic to like keep as a memorabilia, like for this program, for everyone that presented. The infographic has a great summary of each presentation, so you can always look back if something stood out to you. And yeah, we worked hard on the magazine, so hopefully that will be a really great piece of memory for you all. I'd like to thank Lisa and Zoe and